Join me as I dive deep into the chilling case of Mary Bell and try to uncover the truth behind this disturbing story. Mary Bell, a name that still sends shivers down the spine of many. At just 10 years old, she committed a heinous crime that would change her life, and the lives of those around her, forever. When we think about crime and punishment, we often assume that those who commit heinous acts are beyond redemption, but what happens when the perpetrator is just a child? It raises questions about the nature of juvenile justice, and whether our legal system is equipped to handle cases involving minors who have committed horrific crimes. Mary Bell's case is a perfect example of the challenges society faces in understanding and addressing juvenile crime. The media frenzy surrounding her case sparked a national debate about how to deal with child offenders, and the implications of labeling a child a monster at such a young age. We're forced to confront the gray area between criminal responsibility and childhood innocence. The case of Mary Bell also highlights the need for a more nuanced understanding of the psychological and environmental factors that contribute to juvenile crime. In cases like Mary Bell's, it's easy to get caught up in the sensationalist headlines, but it's essential to take a step back and examine the events leading up to the crime. Mary's early life was marked by poverty, neglect, and a general sense of instability. Her mother, Betty, was a prostitute who often left Mary and her sister alone for extended periods, and her father was absent for most of her childhood. This lack of stability and guidance had a profound impact on Mary's emotional development, leading to issues with impulse control, aggression, and empathy. As we delve deeper into Mary's background, we begin to see a complex web of factors that contributed to her eventual descent into violence. Mary's life was marked by violence and aggression from a young age. She would often lash out at her sister, and her mother would punish her harshly, which only seemed to escalate the problem. The lack of positive role models and the constant exposure to violence had a profound impact on Mary's worldview, making her more susceptible to acting out in destructive ways. As we try to understand what drove Mary to commit such a heinous crime, it's essential to consider the environmental factors that shaped her young mind. Mary's case serves as a stark reminder that our environment plays a significant role in shaping our behavior, and that sometimes, children who commit crimes are themselves victims of circumstance. The events leading up to the crime were marked by a sense of escalating tension and violence. Mary's behavior became increasingly erratic, and those around her began to notice a change in her demeanor. The final act of violence was a culmination of all the factors we've discussed so far, and it would change the course of Mary's life, and the lives of those around her, forever. On the morning of May 25, 1968, Mary Bell strangled 4-year-old Martin Brown to death. The crime scene was gruesome, and the nation was left reeling in shock. The investigation that followed was one of the most intense and dramatic in British criminal history. The police were baffled by the lack of evidence, and the media was quick to sensationalize the case, dubbing Mary the Tyneside Strangler. As the case unfolded, the public was captivated by the sheer brutality of the crime, and the fact that the perpetrator was just a child. The trial was a media sensation, with many calling for Mary to be locked away for life. The prosecution painted Mary as a cold-blooded killer, while the defense argued that she was a victim of circumstance, deserving of pity and rehabilitation. The verdict was guilty, and Mary was sentenced to life in prison. The aftermath of the trial sparked a national debate about juvenile justice, with many calling for reforms to the system. As we reflect on Mary Bell's story, it's clear that her case has had a lasting impact on our understanding of child offenders. We're forced to confront the complexities of the human psyche, and the need for a more nuanced approach to dealing with juvenile crime. In conclusion, Mary Bell's story is a disturbing reminder that even the most heinous crimes can be committed by those we least expect. As we try to make sense of her actions, we're forced to confront the darker aspects of human nature, and the need for a more compassionate approach to dealing with child offenders. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the chilling case of Mary Bell. If you have any thoughts on the case, please leave them in the comments below. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more true crime documentaries and in-depth explorations of the darker side of human nature.